Welcome to Slumpbusters. It's time for another episode of Fantasy Versus. And on this episode, we're going to be breaking down two of the most elite talents at the running back position, two bona fide running back ones, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Drew Hagenbaugh. Who's leading your rankings?
I got Dalvin Cook leading my rankings. I have him as the second best running back and Alvin Kamara as the third best running back. But these guys are very, very close in play style, very close in points. It doesn't matter who you guys take. These guys are going to be bona fide elite. They both averaged about 22.5 points, so very similar there. Both getting 60 touchdowns again, very similar there. The only real difference was that Alvin Kamara with the 5 receiving touchdowns because, well, he's basically a running back and a receiver. So Alvin Kamara has the edge in the receiving game, but all in all, both very, very equal.
Both will definitely be set and forget it guys throughout the season, be guys that you just can count on to be in your lineup. But I do prefer actually Kamara a little bit more than Dalvin Cook. And there's a couple reasons why. One, Dalvin Cook's injury history is definitely a cause for concern. Over his 4-year career, he's missed 21 games. Even if we take out the ACL year, that still is double-digit missed games over the last 3 seasons. And I do think that that is something not to shrug your shoulders at, because definitely the Vikings took that in consideration when it came to extending him on a new contract. And when it comes to Kamara, he's been pretty consistently, as far as the Iron Man, been in the lineup. The only game he missed last year was due to an odd COVID situation. And as you mentioned, the margins are so thin that if I could bank on a guy that has a consistent track record of staying on the field and Alvin Kamara's involvement in the passing game, I think I'm going to lean him a little bit more. Alvin Kamara was a top 2 pass catcher last year from the running back position with 83 receptions, almost double what Dalvin Cook had. Obviously, receptions are always going to be a little bit more valuable than rushing attempts. In this regard, I think Kamara definitely separates himself from Dalvin Cook.
I'm glad you brought up the receptions, numbers, and stuff like that, because the big difference maker for this year is going to be the quarterback situation. Obviously, you still have Kirk Cousins in Minnesota for Dalvin Cook, but who's going to be the starter down in New Orleans? Is it going to be Taysom Hill or is it going to be Jameis Winston? If it's Taysom Hill, then that takes so much away from Alvin Kamara, especially in the run game. And who knows how Taysom Hill is going to rely on his receivers? Who's he going to throw to? Who's going to get the receptions? Is it going to be the Adam Troutman, the second-year tight end? Is it going to be this guy or that guy? So who's he going to throw the ball to? If it's Jameis Winston, then definitely Alvin Kamara would have the edge, because I would trust Jameis. Well, I wouldn't say I trust Jameis more than I would Kirk Cousins, because after the 33-33 season, I don't know if I could trust Jameis after that, but he is a very good fantasy quarterback. Jameis Winston is. For me, the scary thing for Alvin Kamara is who's going to be the number 1 quarterback for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that definitely is a concern. But given the injury to Michael Thomas and that you might not see him till middle of the season, I think that the Saints and Sean Payton know that they're going to have to rely on their elite tier pass catching running back to definitely be involved. I definitely could see situations where we see both Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray out there to add more pass catching threats to the field. And regardless of who the quarterback is, Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, I think Alvin Kamara is definitely going to be involved on third down, passing situations, short yardage, all those things that really rack up in fantasy. And I wouldn't be surprised if he even tops this year's reception numbers, being closer to a 100 reception guy all CMC.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I definitely think that Alvin Kamara is going to be probably the number 1 receiver on this team, even when Michael Thomas does come back, because he's going to miss a big bulk of the season. Alvin Kamara more or less going to be the number 1 receiver and obviously the number 1 rusher. So it's basically going to be turning into Christian McCaffrey a couple of years ago, where McCaffrey was not only the best NFL rusher cracking 1,000 yards, but cracking 1,000 receiving yards in the same season. And who knows, maybe Kamara's a guy this year that can do the exact same.
Yeah, so I think definitely between the health, between the pass catching ability, I think those are 2 beneficiaries for Alvin Kamara. So let's talk about the playoff schedule and see what we got going on there. So on Dalvin Cook's side of the field, we have at Chicago versus the Rams, and then in week 17 at Green Bay. So Green Bay has actually been a matchup he's been able to exploit over the last couple of years. In case of Alvin Kamara, at Tampa Bay, which he struggled in those games slightly a little bit, versus Miami, and then versus Carolina. Not a huge record there, as the one game he did miss was the second matchup against Carolina. Between the two of them, I definitely think that their week 16 games versus Carolina at Green Bay are 2 outstanding matchups. But those first 2, who do you give the edge to between Alvin Kamara and Cook?
I mean, I'd give it to Kamara. I mean, Kamara for me is just, at this point, an overall better running back, and like we said, in the pass catching game as well helps him with that situation big time. He did struggle a little bit against Tampa Bay, but I mean, against Miami, Miami obviously is a better team than the last couple of years, but who knows how strong this defense is, especially with a guy like Alvin Kamara, who at any point can have a breakout game against any kind of defense. And Dalvin Cook, he's got two of the toughest defenses in the NFL, in the Rams and Chicago. For me, like, he struggled against Chicago quite a bit. I mean, he did good, but still kind of struggled a little bit. And then against the Rams, I mean, that Rams have a top-tier defensive line. I mean, you have Aaron Donald and so many guys on that defensive line that could absolutely stop the run. So for me, the favorable matchup goes to Alvin Kamara.
Okay. Well, that sounds like maybe I might have shifted your thinking there. Are you ready to move Alvin Kamara ahead of Dalvin Cook in the rankings there? Schedule, pass catching ability, situation. Sounds like he's got him beat on all three fronts.
It sounds like I may have to switch them around a little bit. The only reason why I had him close was basically the quarterback battle, and they pretty much did the exact same thing as each other last year.
All right, well, I convinced Drew, but can we convince you, Slumpbusters? Can we convince you to hit that subscribe button? Are you leaning Dalvin Cook? Are you leaning Alvin Kamara? Did you manage draft CMC and you don't have to worry about either of these two guys? Let us know in the comments. Go ahead and leave a like on this video, helps with the algorithm, and check out our partner, cavemancoffeeco.com. Yes, cavemancoffeeco.com. Don't be a chump. Use promo code SLUMP and save yourself some money on your next delicious purchase of cold brew coffee from cavemancoffeeco.com. Juju Talk Sports, Drew Hagenbaugh. We'll see you next time.